Let's begin with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirmoedhi vedasya ani stha shrutam me ma prahasihi anenadhitena horatran samdadhami rutam vadashyami satyam vadashyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaram avatu mam avatu vaktaram Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay. Sutambara Tre Rishi, Devata Agni Jagati, Janasya Gopa Ajanishta Jagarevih, Agnih Sudakshah Suvitaya Navyase, Ghrita Pratiko Brihata Divisprasha, Dyumad Vibhati Bharatebhir Shuchi, Yajnasya Ketum Prathamam Purohitam Agnim Naras Trishadhasthe Samidhire Indrena Devaih Saratham Sabarhishi Sidan Nihota Yajathaya Sukratuh. The hymn to the divine priest. Did we start this hymn already? We did. No, I just don't remember. The Rishi. We did something, huh?
We did just a little bit, though.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. The hymn to the divine priest and sacrificial flame. A Rishi hymns the birth of the wakeful and discerning sacrificial flame, who is vision and willpower, the seer whose passion of effort turns into a divine knowledge in the heavens of mind. This seer will, the inspired words of the thought, have to increase. It is a thing of puissance, the son of force, and found by the ancient souls of luminous puissance concealed in the growth of earth. In all the experiences that the soul here seeks to enjoy. This idea that the soul here, all our souls are here seeking to enjoy. We all are seeking the divine manifestation here to enjoy. And came here for this purpose. And he represents that luminous puissance concealed in the growth of earth. It's in the depth of every being here, of every being which has soma, that he is concealed. So the first verse, Janasya Gopa Ajanishta Jagrivih, the protector of the people, of the creature, Janasya Gopa, is born, Ajanishta. The flame that is wakeful, Jagrivih, wakeful, Agni, and perfect in discernment, Sudakshah. For a new march to felicity, Suvitaya Navyase, to Suvitaya Suita, that perfect movement or perfect march, Navyas, new, for the perfect new march or new journey. He who is who has a perfect discernment, so Dakshak, the flame, Jagravik, always wakeful, Ajanishta became born, who is the protector, Gopa. Gopa, literally the one who protects light. Yeah, cows, cow protector. Cow is also a light, a ray of light. Janasya, of the one who is born here in the body. Of those who are born here in the body, he is the protector of light. He is born wakeful, flame, perfect in discernment for the new and perfect journey. Gharita
Can we
Pratik.
talk about this discernment?
Yeah, Sudaksha.
Sudaksha. So that's the name of one of what is it, the Angirasas or Daksha?
Adityas, yes.
Adityas. So it seems like if this discernment here, if a person has that, then they know that or at least they suspect that they're here on earth in order to realize the divine and to embody the divine here on earth. But there seems like there's so many people that don't have that discernment, and they don't know what they're doing here. and they don't know. I mean, there's this thing about enjoyment, but if you're just enjoying without any dharma, without any quality of dharma, then you're missing that discernment, and you're not able to to manifest your human destiny. You're kind of more manifesting a more animal destiny unless you have that discernment. And it seems like that discernment is something that, can that be cultivated with abhyasa and all of those practices and things?
Yeah. You discerned very well the discernment. You did discern. It's in the later literature. It's called viveka, yeah, and this discrimination
Viveka.
or
Right.
he is
But it
daksha.
seems like that discrimination quality, what it is in most people is judgment, is saying they look at two things and then it's like, this is good, this is bad, or mine, this is better than that, this mine path is better than yours, Jesus loves you, and all that
Right,
stuff.
right.
And it's not viveka, it's judgment.
Yes, very, very
and
good. You're very,
and
yeah.
so I mean, I would like to understand this viveka and how it can be taught, if it can be taught,
Nothing
how
can
it
be
can
taught.
be
Yeah,
prioritized. Nothing can be
Nourished.
taught. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, nothing can be taught is the principle of integral education, by the way. That's quite interesting because you cannot teach Viveka. That's why nothing can be taught, because Viveka is intrinsic in your consciousness. Yeah? It has to kind of come to the front, or you have to become aware of your own innermost properties of consciousness, and then you will have that Viveka. And by the way, your this distinction is very valid, and Kana Upanishad deals with this. You know, the one who knows him, yasyamatam,
Canotas.
yasyamatam tasyamatam. Yes, you remember this, yeah? Who has thought of it that
Yes, yes,
does
yes,
not
yes.
know, who
Yeah, we
distinguishes
went over
it
that.
that he is not distinguishing, and who is who is not distinguishing it, he is distinguishing or discerning. And it's quite interesting that the discernment is necessary. So he discerns the spirit as something which cannot be discerned. But notice that he still discerns, yes? He has this discernment in him.
You have to.
Yeah, and you have to discern it as that which cannot be discerned. And this is a discernment, and this is interesting. Yeah. But the one who discerns it, he really does not know. Yeah? He gets only the form or something. And here this judgment comes, which you pointed out. You start judging according to the dogma, to the form which you discerned in the spirit. You do not have the access to the spirit. You got only the outcome or some kind of form of it, or something which was leftovers of the spirit, as it were. And by these leftovers, you are trying to judge the very spirit. Very good point, by the way.
Well, I keep seeing a lot of people, which it appears to me that what's being done is everything is being mushed into a single kind of container, and it's kind of faux unity. It's fake unity. Because unity, when you are actually have unity in your consciousness, there is this kind of relationship or connection or intimacy that everything has with everything else. But it's not the same thing as it's all good. That's one of my what's one of my pet peeves. It's all good. It's not all good. It is something. It's good if it's in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
Or it's good if it works and it helps, but it's not always good. It's not all good. Sometimes it doesn't belong there, and you need to exorcise it with something sharp and poisonous that's miserable. But that's what needs to be. That's what's evolutionary in that moment with that situation.
Right.
So discernment, this discernment, I mean, you have to be able to say, no, even if that's Brahman, even if it's all Brahman, this doesn't belong here right now, and I don't want it, and I'm turning away from it. And
it belongs to the past.
It's not, and that's the right thing.
Right. Once we have that consciousness, which
Angie,
is, yeah, yes, Lynn.
Yeah, and we similarly, as you say, a faux unity. This misconception that when that stuff happens, that somehow or another your own consciousness, that somehow it's my karmic fault, I chose to whatever. And there's certain times when that attitude is really very helpful to get through something, but there are other times when there's the bolt out of the blue, or the child who dies in the night, that it's not appropriate to be it isn't comforting, it isn't helpful. One needs to deal with the awfulness of what happened.
Well, my feeling is that usually even those awful things are mercy. It's some sort of mercy of the divine, and there is some kind of karmic component, but it is awful, and you just have to say it is awful and deal, like you said, deal with the awfulness. But in my opinion, even the awfulness, there's usually some kind of enormous mercy in that situation and in that awfulness and in the karma of it, which is a kind of a different order of reality, but it's, the awfulness is still awful.
The awfulness occurs when the elements which do not belong to this perpetual becoming to this growth of fresh and clear and young, ever young consciousness, which is constantly becoming in the moment of time, in which nothing repeats itself, and that is the purity, the divinity of that moment, is how to say, clogged or mm, invaded by these forces which belong to some other time and some other context. They kind of,
Right.
they rise
Right.
from the past, or they are the fake formations which want to capture us, our consciousness, and to relive their own way of being. You know, they want to be alive again. And we give them this opportunity through our lives. And this is awfulness of it, yes. But if the moment of time is coming, in the moment of time, the truth, so to say, is that somebody is to vanish or disappear, or something is to be destroyed, or Mother says nothing is destroyed, it just moves into another time. You cannot destroy anything here at all. It goes into the past, into the deep, dark, uh, inconscient, and that's it. It's not changed. It cannot be changed. Yeah? It has to just pass. It has to move away. So if if all this, if you look at it in this perspective, if something happens which we call awful in general situation, when it is arising from the past, but it is actually not not the event of the past, but in the event of the present, then we do not have that judgment or that feeling that something is unnatural and not correct. We feel that it is something is okay. Yeah, even because it is its place, it's time. You know, when it is its time, then it is fine. But if it is not, then that awfulness arises. Yeah? It's a very strange thing what I'm trying to say. But even Kurukshetra, when this massacre could take place, yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Arjuna is objecting to it, he objects from the perspective of the past events, from the perspective of how he would approach it in general, but not in the moment of the Krishna's awareness. Yeah? And that's what he brought to him. He gave him this perspective or this sense to distinguish. And there Viveka comes to see what is right and what is wrong in the moment of time. And it is not very clear what is right and what is wrong. One cannot really easily judge it. One has to have vaster consciousness or higher.
Unless there's that flame that is wakeful and perfect in discernment for the new march to felicity.
Right.
That's what Krishna brought to Arjuna,
Right.
is the wakeful and perfect discernment for the new march. So he wasn't being having to struggle with it in his normal evaluation of things, in his normal consciousness. There was this new march to felicity that Krishna brought to him.
Yes,
That
and
is
Arjuna
Veda,
couldn't
I guess,
see.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Arjuna couldn't see it, the new march. He saw only the massacre. He didn't see the next stage. He didn't see why he does what he does, why he brought these armies to fight. And later, already at the end of Mahabharata, Krishna was asked this question: why did you do this way? Wasn't there other way to do it? And he says, it was a very difficult task for me to really achieve this new consciousness, new march, new road. How would you do if the consciousness is clogged by old chitta with all the events, dogmas, knowledge, everything is there, blocking a new breakthrough? So how? How else would one achieve in a...
So that's what Agni does.
Right. Cleans up.
That's Agni's job, is to unclog it.
Right. Burns us away. And burns, and the form is burnt away. The form is gone, but the consciousness cannot be gone. Consciousness will be rebuilt in other form immediately. It tried this form, it worked out what the elements it needed for its own embodiment, and now it wants to change the form. And this is the truth. Constant
I
change
think
of
that
form.
might be what's happening now in the world.
Right.
The form is being combusted all over the world because there's all these protests in the streets everywhere, and it seems like that's everybody is saying the forms are old and outdated, and
Right.
that they need this new march to truth, and the old forms have to go, and the old people who don't have the consciousness to support it, they have to be voted out or thrown out or
Right.
burned up in some way.
And that's how Trump came to power. He came to power not as a new form,
Right.
but as a demolisher of the old. Because the old form is, even if it seems very nice, like Democrats and Republicans playing this game among themselves, they didn't change much. But, yeah, it's all the game. This game is no more welcome. People don't want it anymore. They want something more, something else.
Right.
They do not know it totally outwardly, but inwardly there is certain dissatisfaction. And that actually made Trump move forward as a destroyer of the old form. And now it's not clear, there is no form. We are in the period of no form, or form is being demolished. And it's very difficult for us to understand what is next and how it will be. Yeah, it's quite interesting anyhow.
It's part of the mechanics of transformation.
Right.
The
Technologies.
destruction is part of the mechanics.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and the
And
second
we're
line.
grateful. This is a nice verse. I feel like this is yeah.
I had while we were discussing, this word puissance, I looked it up.
Puissance.
Puissance is actually medieval French,
French, yes.
and
Means power.
Well, no, it means power.
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
That's
Force.
what I just said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but specifically, it also has a context of a contest of the strength of horses, which I thought was interesting in this context here, that you could almost paint this picture of this kind of force behind Agni in this setting of the of it's not not it has this overwhelming, very 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 muscular quality.
Yeah,
What
power.
could be behind Agni, though? What could be Agni is the thing that's behind it all. So there's nothing behind Agni, is there?
Rudra is behind Shiva. Yes, it is his son.
Rudra.
Yeah, it's Rudra is the biggest motivator of change of form. He will destroy every form which is not suitable for the divine.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. We love him for that.
We fear and love him for that.
Well, nobody wants to live through a big cataclysm. And I mean, it's like nobody wants to live with Trump. But like you said, his job. He's an not apsara. He's a rakshasa that has been hired by the creator to, like, just create so much havoc and chaos that the old order will crumble.
Yeah, we have to find a new order, really. And for that, we need to work much differently. Yeah, not in the old manner. It will not work the same way. You have to find a new consciousness for it, which is quite a task. Here also this
it's right here.
Yeah, it's here in the Veda, right?
Here's the new consciousness. Yeah.
And this Suvitaya Navya said, this is such a beautiful, always this new and perfect path. Or he is born as fresh and ever young, or always new. The fire is always born new. And for the new and perfect path, he is doing this. He is born here for this. Yeah, the protector of the creature born here, of the soul born in the matter, for this new and fresh movement forward. It's beautiful, this idea of the future. It's not only the present moment, it is this present moment when it is divine, it is always turned towards the future. This what we cannot totally capture by people who speak on behalf of this power of now and, here and now. When they speak about this power of here and now, they do not look into the future. And this is the problem, what they bring. Yeah? They kind of remove all the obstacles of the past, and as they think obstacles of the future because we project ourselves, but they do not bring a new, fresh projection to the future, which is constantly in the Rigveda. You will see it everywhere. And Mother says also about the same. She says, everything, all your families, all your relations, all your lovers are in the future. Look into the future. Don't even look into the past. Go towards the future. And that will carry you in the right way. Because this is the power of now, power towards the future. And here in the Rigveda, we can see it beautifully in this simple verse, for the new and perfect moving forward. Yeah? He is born here. He's not born here to burn the past only. No, he's for the future movement, for the perfection in the future he is born. That's his purpose. And Grita Pratikach, his front is of the clarities. Grita, with this mind clarities, Grita, they've clarified Bhata. Brihata divisprisha dyumat vibhati, he shines vast in the vastness. So luminously he shines wide, so that the vastness of him touches the heaven. Brihata divisprisha. So by the vastness touching the heaven, he shines luminously here with luminous clarity in front. So many luminous words. Yeah, everything is.
Is it Mitra Varuna?
Well, if he brings them in, yes, then they are there. If, of course, they are there as consciousness and being, yeah, the divine being which is manifesting here.
Well, when he's talking about vastness, and purity, that sounds like Varuna and Mitra.
Right, that's there, vastness and purity, which he brings in, because they are Agni in manifestation. When we speak about manifestation, it will be Agni of them, because nothing else is here manifesting but them. And yes, look at this Grita, is this clarified or burning or warm clarity that like ghee. Divi sprisha, touching heaven. Heaven is also shining one, from div to shine. Dyumat, luminously from the same div root. Vibhati, shining or appearing vast. All these words, div, bha, ghri, these roots are the roots of shine. And shuchich, pure or flaming or burning, also from root shuch, yeah? Purifying and flaming. He shines luminously touching with vastness the luminous heaven, with his front burning and flaming. Bharate bhiyach shuchich. Bharata is the one who brings, yeah? For the bringers of the shuchich, of the flame. He is translating here as a riches. The one who brings shuchich. Or maybe no, bringers of the riches, he is Bharate Bhiyach. He translates, he adds riches here as if the direct object is riches, because what are they bringing actually, if not that richness of the spirit? To them he kind of reveals himself. He shines onto them. Or for them he brings for the bringers of the riches, he brings this light. I will read my interpretation, maybe it will help. The wakeful seer, Jagravich, is born, who protects the light of those in the body. Gopa actually means protector of Go cows, rays of light. He has a perfect discernment, Sudakshah, and knowledge for a new and perfect journey, Suvitaya, easy or good journey. He can clearly discern the best way for our spiritual growth. He who is even on his surface covered with the warm brightness of his mental clarity, touches the sky by his vastness and being pure Shuchich, shining all over Vibhati, on those who carry Bharate Bhiyach, the shining portion of his light within, Diomat. This is how I meant it. I did it in the past. It's quite interesting. Those who carry Dhyumat, who carry that light within themselves, to them he reveals himself. He shines vast, touching the heaven. It is in them, as it were, in their consciousness, he reaches out to heaven. It's very different in a way. So we have to have that spark in us, that aspiration, that flame in the heart. And for that flame will grow vast and will touch the heaven for us. But we have to have that aspiration within.
That's encouraging.
Yes, it is all about that, having aspiration. There is a beautiful description by the mother, which may be appropriate here, about the perception of things, how we understand things. And I was writing about it. I will show you, maybe it would be interesting to see, to look into this, because it will explain exactly this, what aspiration does for us. And this is exactly what Agni does. One second. I will look into it in a second. It should be here. On understanding. It's not here. I moved it. Wait a minute.
It looked like that looked interesting.
We'll find it in a minute. My thoughts. No, it's not thoughts. It's something else. Here it is. So there is a very interesting passage of somebody asks Mother, when one understands, what is it in us that understands? And then she describes this very interesting process. about separation. Wait a minute. I want to find appropriate portion. And one more second, one more. Um, yes, here, that's what I want to say. Mother says that understanding is really not the phenomenon of this world. It is a parallel reality. It's not from this space, and this is important. Now, this other dimensional order does not correspond to space. It's because we have physical notion about the different material planes, material dimensions, because when we understand it is in another order of dimensions, absolutely another order. We are kind of deriving from this what is happening in the world, and understanding is in a parallel world, as it were. Now, this other dimensional order does not correspond to our space, to this space where the physical events take place. But you cannot understand and be something unless it is in you in some way or other, or you are in it. It's the same thing, isn't it? Mm. However, to make you understand more easily, I can say it's because it is in you, because it's a part of your consciousness. That's why we understand somewhere. Otherwise, you could never become aware of it. How can we become aware of anything if we do not have it already within ourselves? If one did not carry the divine within oneself, in the essence of one's being, one could never become aware of the divine. If it would be an impossible venture. And then, if you reverse the problem, the moment you conceive and feel in some way or other, or even to begin with, admit that the divine is in you, as well as you are in the divine, then already this opens the door to realization. Just a little, not much, slightly ajar. But then, look at this, then, if later the aspiration comes, and this is, I put in this, this golden color, because this is the Agni, aspiration comes, the intense need to know that opening, that question, something has opened ajar a little bit, then that intense need widens the opening until one can creep in. And then, when one has crept in, one becomes aware of what he is. And that's exactly what Sri Aurobindo says, that one has forgotten that due to this separation of Sat Chit Ananda, forgetfulness comes. Forgetfulness of what one is. One thinks oneself to be somebody. You see, anyone at all, a boy, a girl, a man, a woman, a dog, a horse, anything at all, a stone, the sea, the sun. One believes oneself to be all this, instead of thinking oneself of the one divine. Because, in fact, if one had continued thinking oneself the one divine, there would have been no universe at all. It's because we identify ourselves with these forms that we think that we are these forms. And that's how manifestation takes place. That is what I wanted to tell him, indicating a child, that this phenomenon of separation and discernment comes, to be indispensable, seems to be indispensable for a universe to be there. Otherwise, it would always have remained as it was. But if we reestablish the unity now,
But it also seems that
now it comes, the punchline. But if we reestablish the unity after having made it pass through this curve of separation, you see, if we reestablish the unity, having benefited from the multiplicity, the division, then we have a unity of a higher quality, a unity which knows itself instead of the unity which doesn't have to know itself. That's what we live today. We live in a unity which doesn't have to know itself, doesn't want to know itself.
right.
But if we...
I call that faux unity, but
Yes, exactly. You were talking about this today, that everything is one, we are all one. Where are we one? And do you have that consciousness of us being one? It's a great consciousness. You have to grow into it.
but on the other hand, it seems that the Devata, all of them want to participate in this consciousness of diversity. They seem like the unity is kind of something that they kind of expect, but the diversity part seems to be something that the divine in the various divinities seem like they want to experience all that diversity, and all the diverse creation wants the unity.
Right. The unity, well, the new unity is on the way. It is that fresh and perfect path, newly born. It is moving towards the future. It is in the future, this new unity, where all the diversity can be maintained and seen as a part of unity. It's not yet there. We are not there. So if we reestablish the unity, having benefited from the multiplicity, the division, then we have a unity of a higher quality, a unity which knows itself instead of the unity which doesn't have to know itself. For there is nothing which may know the other, for there is nothing which may know the other. When the oneness is absolute, one can know the oneness. We must at least be able to have an image, an appearance of something which is not it, in order to understand what it is. That's how we learn today. This is the discernment. The discernment, I must discern what it is and what it is not. And this is how this world operates. I believe that is this is the secret of the universe. Perhaps the divine wanted really to know himself, so he threw himself out and then looked at himself, and now he wants to enjoy this possibility of being himself with the full knowledge of himself in this multiplicity. This becomes much more interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is something which we somehow didn't get yet, what happened to us, why we are in all this separation, why we are suffering this division. But it is a curve which we have to pass. We have to go through this curve, through this night.
But here you think there's like 7 billion humans, and this whole huge, enormous, infinite possibility. And here, this 3 of us out of 6 billion, or paying money and taking the time out to actually try and find this thing. It seems to be, it needs to be a little bit more all pervasive.
Well, It starts somewhere. Yes, well, fire starts with a spark else somewhere, and there are many sparks all over the planet. In many groups, people are trying to find that meaning, that sense why we are here, what is happening to us, where we are, where our journey lies, where we are going, moving uh, for. What are
There
we
is
looking
quite a
for?
movement on Earth, I think.
Right. So this was a kind of coming because Suvitaya Navyase, because of this particular phrase for a new and fresh and perfect path in the future. Mm, And of course, he is bringing the, or widening the scope of our consciousness, touching heaven for those who carry in themselves the light. Yeah? And not for those who do not. And this is the answer maybe to your question, where is others? What are others are doing? Maybe they are not yet having that spark or that need, or maybe they are not looking yet for this opportunity to grow in consciousness. And in that case, they will be used as the tools of nature, or as the, you know, the means of nature to promote the evolution. It's their choice. They can choose what to do.
Yeah.
All right. It's not to say that we are having these sparks only, but we are looking for this fire or this aspiration within ourselves. Yes. It doesn't mean that we have it or that we are better than them. I think we are the same as them, only they are in just different timing or different position to their own self-discovery. And that will turn sooner or later and will change also. Okay,
I think
here,
it's a very odd thing that we can't illumine somebody else or something else. I think it's kind of because that light is everybody's light. Is the light of everything, and yet you really can't illuminate anything else but your own stuff.
well, it's contagious. Once you start burning, you will, others will also catch fire from you. So it is happening. Maybe not on the scale we would like to have, but it will take place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, maybe we
That's
can
fair.
stop
Did you
here
want
for.
to do something?
We can stop here today, and we can continue next time from the second verse. One verse a day. Good. Right. Uh,
That's what we do.
that's what we
That's what
do.
makes it so beautiful.
Okay, let's close with mantra then. Om Vang Manasi Pratishthitam Mano Me Vachi Pratishthitam Aviravirmoedhi Vedasyama Anistha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anena Dhitena Horatran Samdadhami Arutam vadashyami, satyam vadashyami, tanmam avatu, tadvaktaram avatu, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram, avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Okay. See you next time. Yeah.
Hari Om. Thank you both.
Yes, next
Send
time.
my regards and prayers to Raj, to Roger,
Roger.
and
Yeah.
so he will be
Thank you.
taken care of and recover sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now then.
Bye.
Bye.